Well, hello friends. Today we are gonna do multiple selection in the GUI views, and I guess we'll just start with one of them. So I'll show you what I mean by this. So currently it's only possible to select a single item here, and that really limits what we can do with a file manager. So I would like it if we could select multiple. And maybe we'll just start by making it possible to hold Shift and click, or maybe Control and click actually, because then we don't have to do ranges. So yeah, I think Control click, we can do that. Just to keep it like tightly scoped. But so the way that the icon view here, for instance, yeah, icon view works, or the table view, is that, oh, look at that, the icon's all screwed. I need to make a smaller icon for the audio files. The way that it works is that you have a data model that can be displayed in an arbitrary view. So these are just two of the views. There's also a tree view, which is the one we see here. And there's a list view as well. That's basically the table view like this one, except that it only has a single column. But I guess right now, let's mostly worry about the icon view. So I guess that's a G icon view. No, it's a G item view. Okay, so there's a little discrepancy here between the name in the file manager and the actual class name. But I think icon view is a fine name here. Anyways, so the way that it works is that currently the model tracks who is selected in the model. So if we switch between the models, then it doesn't work right. It doesn't. The selection is supposed to move between the two. It doesn't do that. I'm not sure why. But basically, the selection does live on the model. I guess we don't invalidate it correctly or something. But we're going to need the selection to be on the view instead, so that you could have like two views on the same thing, and they would have different selections. And also, we need to separate the selection out. So currently we would just have this concept of a selected index. I'll show you what that looks like. Selected G model, which is the data model base class, has a selected index. So it's a single index in the model, like a single item that can be selected at any time. So this needs to be different. So I'm thinking what we're going to do is we're going to make some kind of a selection class, like I don't know, like a G model selection. And we will give the view a GModel selection object, and then in the selection object you can have one or many selected indices, basically. And then that would also have the nice property of separating the selection out from the view class, so that we can use the same logic in all the different views. So I guess that's how I imagine we would do this. And let's start with, where do we start? Maybe we start with trying to use this thing. So set selected index. We're using that in various places. So I think instead of that, the way that we would do this is a table view here, for instance. So the way that we would use this is that we would call something like mwindow list selection set and then index. So we can have like a selection class that has maybe set and add. So set would be like now that whatever you set becomes like the one selected item, and if you add, then it becomes that whatever you had before plus the new one. Sort of how I imagine this. So let's try to see here. So like this means that we have to start caring about whether a view is a single select or multi-select. I guess the default should be single select. So file system model, in this case instead we want to call directory view. Selection, wait, what the hell is a directory view anyway? Oh. Table view and item view. Okay, hold on. Wow, this code is confusing. Okay, maybe I got carried away and started in the wrong end here. How about we just start by making the selection class instead? Let's do that. So the base class of all the different views is GAbstractView. We can see who inherits that. By doing that, you can see this is a tree, table, list, and item views inherit from GAbstractView. So that's where we're going to stash the selection as well. So we'll have something like gmodel selection, and do that maybe. Have a const together for it. Something like that. And then the GUI gmodel selection.h. Okay, and then we can just include that here. Okay. Now we got to figure out how this thing should work. So I guess we'll start with gmodel index, and maybe like a hash table. Okay, and then we can just have an empty constructor, and then it will have a hash table of all the model indices that are selected. Indices or indexes? I guess indices sounds right, but indexes is probably clearer. So let's go with indexes. Summer, please end finally. Okay, and then let's see, let's do add. Let's add a set function, const gmodel index, and we can have add and clear. And then I think maybe we'll give it a back pointer to the abstract view so that we can call things on the view. So we're going to want to do that. So GAbstract view. Just make it a reference because there will always be one. I'm just thinking that like when we change the selection somehow, then we will call some callback on the view, and the view will be able to refresh itself. I think we're going to do a CPP file for this as well. So then we'll add that to the makefile. Gmodel selection.o. GUI. Okay. Yeah, right. So in GAbstract view, where's the constructor for GAbstract view? Oh, here. Okay, so here we will just initialize selection with this. Good. Right. Now, excuse me. Let's add these functions real quick because I think that they're quite trivial. Set add and clear. So if m indexes is empty, return. Otherwise, m index is clear, and view did change selection, and we pass a badge. I think that's how we'll make this work. Okay, so abstract view. We'll just add a callback here. Let's say void did change selection, badge, gmodel selection. Okay. Cool. And we're going to want to do this in all of these. And set if m indexes size is 1 and m indexes contains index, then return. Otherwise, clear m indexes set index. Okay. And then here, if indexes contains index, then return, because then the selection doesn't change if you already have it, right? And m indexes set index. And I realize now that we should also have remove. So gmodel selection, remove index. If m indexes contains index. If it doesn't contain index, well, return, I guess. Then we'll say m indexes remove index and view did change selection. Did change selection. That's kind of a weird name for this actually, because notify, let's call it notify selection changed instead. Notify selection changed. Okay. And right, let's add the remove. Maybe it would be good to return whether it worked or not. Although I don't see myself caring about the return value, but maybe it's still good to do that. And let's also assert that the indices are valid, because otherwise we're going to cause ourselves some bugs by not realizing that we're using invalid indices. So let's just trap those. Okay. Cool. I think we have something here to work with. Just verify that that compiles, and then gmodel. No, that didn't build. What's wrong with it? Hash is not a member of traits for model index. Okay, that's fine. I guess we've never put gmodel index in a hash table before. That's fine, we can do that. We just have to define the traits for it. How do I normally do this? Let's just steal some traits from somewhere. This is what I always do. Just take these, write new traits. For index. I'm going to do a pair int hash of index row, index column. What's wrong with that? Well, I think that's just it's fine. Then let's see. So then let's go and item view class and then see how we paint. So how do we paint the selection? That's kind of interesting, right? So when we're painting indices, we're just checking, when we paint an item view, we just start at index 0 and go all the way to the last row in the model. And then we just ask, hey, is this index the selected index? So the logic here instead becomes selection contains item index. Right, so like that. And then we forgot to add a contains function. It's definitely very important. Contains const. I can put this one in line actually. Okay, oopsie doopsie. And no, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to do that. Okay. Good. And I cannot pass, oh, because I'm not passing an index. Right, so I have to actually create a temporary little index here. So create index, no, index row item index, like that. Is that good? That's good. Okay, let's just look for all the different instances of so many of these. Well, I guess I'll just start with which one do we start with? What do these even do? Home and end and stuff. Okay, well, so if it's a valid index, then we do selection.set new index. I guess it's that simple. Okay. Set new index. Okay. Selection. Like how do we get, so here we want to activate all the selected indices, indices. But it's complicated. Activate. How do you activate multiple things? I guess you activate them one at a time, actually. Because like if you select, so this is when you press the return key after you've selected something in the item view, right? So I guess we just want to call activate for each one of them. So maybe we'll add a little helper for that. For each selected index, for each index. Maybe like this, and actually we'll get the index here. We'll say activate index. Yeah, and call this. I mean, we capture this, and then we're gonna need to add this helper. So we'll just put that here. Can we do it this way? Index. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Are you being a good boy and build? Thank you. Okay, so then let's keep going. Selected index is valid. So I guess if this is again like this, what happens when you do key up? If you have a single item selected, okay, let's come back to that one. I'm gonna have to, okay, give me something else to look at. Mouse down. Okay, mouse down I can deal with. Okay, so instead of calling set selected index, you can say if event modifiers and mod control. Then we'll do selection add model index I0. Actually, we can construct that here. Selection add index, otherwise okay. Like that. And I think we don't need to call update here because changing the selection will call update if needed. Okay, and then otherwise, if we end up here, so you clicked outside of all of the items, then we'll do selection clear. That'll be good. Okay. Yeah, I think that's interesting. I don't know if that's exactly the right behavior, but we'll find out. And then if you double click, what do we do if you double click on multiple things selected? I really have no idea. Guess we'll work all these things out somehow. So for now, how about we just do the same thing that we did for activating with enter. If you double click on multiple, we'll just activate each one. Activate index. Okay. It's just the key ones left now. Key up. All right, I guess we gotta figure something out about this. So if you press up, then of course we want to go up. But where do we go up from if you have multiple selected? I guess we just pick a random one. Model selected index. So selected index. Why am I blanking on this? Okay, so here we'll just say selection set. In all of these cases, at least, selection set. Guess how much longer can I run away from this? Not anymore. Okay. So I guess we should have something that just picks like the first one, and maybe it should be like the lowest number selected. But we don't have an easy way to extract that because it's not sorted. So let's just give you a random one, and we can do better later. So let's say G model index first We'll just say first. Note, fix me. This doesn't actually this doesn't guarantee get is the lowest or first index selected, because we are just going to do random indexes begin, start from that, and then if an index is empty, we'll return an invalid index. Yeah. And we'll leave a fix me about it. Then we can come back here someday. Okay. Now we are going to want to use, I guess we can just do that selection. If selection is empty, oh, we didn't add any empty function either. Let's see how we write this. Auto selection, so index, old index, something like this, and then we'll say we're gonna need is empty. This is definitely not like the most efficient way of doing this, right? Because if you imagine like a huge table and you select a huge range of entries, then we have to like insert every single index in that range. You could imagine this, you could make this a lot more efficient by implementing it based on ranges instead, but right now we're just going to do every index, like put every index into a hash table, because we're just trying to get the feature up and running, right? I find that it's quite important to not get carried away with efficiency too soon. I mean, I know that that's like obvious, but you have to, just because something is obvious, it doesn't mean you're not going to fall into it anyway. You have to be kind of aware of that, or at least I do, because it's really tempting to try to build the perfect thing instead of build something. Okay. Yeah, this is how we'll do it. So it should say selection is empty, not empty. Selection is empty, then we'll do that, and then that. Hold index. So the behavior when you like key press your way out of a multi-select, it'll be a bit strange, probably, but we'll see. Selection is empty. And not that many of these to implement, just a few more. This could probably be generic somehow. I mean, obviously this is extremely repetitive code, but I'm not gonna work that out right now. Here we'll do the old index. Old index, and like that. Okay, selected index. I'm not using it anymore. Okay, well, I am feeling spicy and brave here, so let's build the whole system and see if we can get this thing working. notify selection changed. Oh, we forgot to do something with that. So that would be an abstract view thing. I think we'll just do an update, like a repaint, basically. Not much else to do at that point. Okay, let's see if we can get some life in this thing. Does it even start? Yes, it does. We can select stuff, and look at that, multi-select. Oop. It's pretty cool. And resizing it works too, like the way you would expect. And what happens if we select 2 text files and then press enter? Boom, both of them open. Neat. It's very, very neat. Okay. I think we're gonna do a patch review here and try to commit as we go. So we'll do the model selection first of all. Yeah, we'll do the model selection first of all. So what is in this class really? It's a simple standalone class that wraps a hash table of indices with basic set functionality and a for each index iteration helper. And then this magic thing here that will just give you the first, whatever that is. I think this is pretty good. Yeah. And then really the magic of this, like the thing that makes this different from just a normal hash table, is that when the contents change, then we call notify selection changed on the view. So that's like the only magic really in this thing right now. Otherwise it could just be a hash table on the view, but we want it to like notify us back when it changes. With GUI, GUI model selection. To assist in implementing multiple select. To help implementing multiple selection views. Okay. I'll say a GUI model selection is a model selection. The idea is for each view to have a model selection backed initially by a simple hash table. GUI model. It's easier to talk about the real type names here instead of like not writing them out as type names actually. Future probably refactored backed by. In the future it will probably make sense to move to using some kind of ranges as the internal presentation. Representation instead. Okay, and then we had model index. We were just adding hash traits to it, I think. So let's look at that. Yeah, just adding hash traits and fixing include order by my compulsive invocation of Clang format. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Add hash traits. I realize now that the previous hash would not have worked without this one. So we should probably reorder those. And then actually, I also just realized that the makefile change is entirely about adding the model selection class to the build. So we should do that also. Hello. We'll just reorder these a little bit. Shit, what do I have? Okay. G model selection to makefile fixed medium. Okay, and then what else did we have? Libraries. Now it's the real meat and potatoes here, or not really, but some. Okay, so in the abstract view class, we are just adding a selection to each view, and we're adding the notify selection changed thing. So this needs to be part of that big change, actually, or it needs to be part of introducing the new class. Okay. I don't know why these are more entangled than I realized. Did I press caps lock? I did. Okay. Merge also. Damn it. Okay. There's really only G item view left. Okay, so then we're gonna have to rebase a little bit there. G item view. Switch to using G model selection. Select instead of G model. Support multi-select. This is really quite straightforward. Instead of using G models, selected index, we now query the views on G model selection, query and update. Yeah. Okay, now we can fix this up. Okay, so this needs to go in here, and this needs to go in here, and squash, squash. Okay, and then HG abstract view. Each abstract view now has selection hash by a simple hash table, blah blah blah, and selection changes somehow. It's automatically the view gets notified via the notify selection changed call. Hook or callback? Callback. It's a callback because you're not going to hook it. Okay. Okay, actually that one. Trying to stay honest here so that things keep building. So we need to add hash traits before we introduce a model selection. Okay, now everything is in the right order. Do you also care about your Git history being nice? I do. It's very, very important to me to have a beautiful history because I know from experience that I'm going to do a lot of archaeology on this in the future, so I needed to look as, you know, as sane as possible. Okay, so what do we do next? I guess we can do the table view. Selected index. We have a whole bunch of those to change. Set selected. So let's just look at how it's painted to begin with. And oh, actually, what's going on here? Oh, duh, you don't need to check that. Anyways, let's implement the paint event first. It's the wrong class. Table view. It's selected row. So in table views, we only care about selected rows, which is fine. So, I mean, in the future, we should definitely support selecting a single cell, but right now we just care about if the row is selected or not. So I guess the way we determine that is by I guess we can just check if, or wait, hold on, set selected index. Do we compute columns for this thing at all? Mouse down, event. We click somewhere, then what? Set selected index. Index at event position. Yes, we do compute the column. Okay, so we do have to care about that. Then in paint event, let's say is selected row. We'll say selection contains row, and then we will let the selection class deal with this. So int row index, or just row actually in this context is fine. And we will just say for auto index and indexes, if index row is row, then return true, otherwise return false. Yeah, oh, that's good enough for me right now. We just need the functionality. Okay. Select, let's look at set selected index, I guess. So we can change those easily to be selection set. Okay, so we'll do all of the model set selected index, and we'll change those into selection set. Boom. Okay. Selected index. Here's one of those. We'll just do selection set. So this is the mouse down event. So here we'll actually want to act a little bit differently. So we'll say if event modifiers and mod control. We'll do a selection add else set. Yeah, maybe that should be a helper that knows how to do that, but for now this is okay. Okay, and then activate, we'll do the same, so selection for each index. This, auto index, activate index, boom. Wait, that doesn't look quite right. Oh, shit, there we go. Okay, and then here we want to do if selection is empty. I wonder if I got all these right in that other class, by the way. Like, now I'm kind of paranoid. So that was like a little bit of a repetitive task there. Selection is empty. Let's just look at all these. Selection is empty, selection is empty, selection empty. Yeah, I guess I did. Okay, well, it's always good to check. So we'll do the same technique here. Now we just grab the first, and then we use that. as a starting off point for doing keyboard navigations. Right. So the more of this, or like when we get this done, this feature is going to open up so many bug fixes, because like Dan has been reporting a lot of bugs relating to multiple select in the file manager. So this is going to be very nice because it makes it possible to fix all of those. I've just been putting this off because I don't know why. Like I thought that this was going to be like this difficult thing. Like I often think that things are going to like if I don't know how to do something, then I just feel like, oh, this is going to be so difficult, right? But as I was talking about in the car the other day, it's not really difficult. It just, I didn't know how to do it when I started, but it immediately just worked itself out, right? As you can see here. So I don't know what I was so worried about. But I never know what I was so worried about. So if selection is non-empty, it's editable. Oh, this one is a bit weird, but okay, then we'll just say selection first, and otherwise we'll do activate all of them, just like we did to the others. Selection for each index. This index, activate index, boom. And I don't need you. Okay. Look at that. Oh, accidental double click. Or actually, yeah, double click opened 4 separate things. And we got a crash. Why do we crash? Index is valid in gmodel selection set. Okay, so what's going on with that? Mouse down. Gtable view mouse down. Okay. Calling set. I guess, oh, I guess if we're setting an invalid index at event position, so if this thing returns an invalid index, yeah, which it might, then we should actually clear the selection. So we'll do this, and then we'll say if index is valid. If it's not valid, we'll do selection clear. Turn. Otherwise, we will do selection add on control held. Otherwise, selection set. And mouse down event. What did we do in this guy here? We already took care of this, right? If we didn't find it, then we cleared. Right. That's good. It's very good. Interesting. I don't know what I was doing here. Right, so now I can click these, click outside, and it just deselects. And oh, I guess if I click on one that's already selected, I would want it to become unselected. Because right now there's no way to unselect something selected. So we should have that. How's that going to work? I guess in mouse down, if you click on something, then instead of add, we will have toggle. How about that? Okay, and then we'll also have toggle. And the way that's going to work is if it's contained, then wait, what does remove do? Doesn't return anything. All right. It will just do it this way. If it contains it, then we will add it, remove it. Oh wait, wrong function. Oops. Remove index, else m index is add. No, set index. Okay. And then we always call the callback because it always changes when we toggle, right? Selected index. Yeah, so there's like a whole bunch of things to fix that depends on these. But the basic stuff is here, and I can build on top of that. So I think we're gonna wrap this up pretty soon, but we'll do a few more commits here. G model selection. Let's see, we can add those too. Let's see, G model selection, add contains row, and toggle G model index. APIs. Oh, we don't need to say that they're APIs, that's obvious. And then oh wait, I should actually test this. Very, very neat. Of course, we don't support that in this guy yet, so we need to fix that too. But first, let's just do a quick review here of the table view changes. So in mouse down, if we don't get a valid index when looking it up by position, then we clear the selection. Otherwise, we toggle if you hold control. Otherwise, we set the selection. Okay. And when we're painting, we use contains row to check if the row we're currently painting is part of the selection. Cool. And then pressing return activates all the indices. And then here is just porting the keyboard navigation code so that it's based off of the first in the selection. Blah, 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 blah. And down here, when you double click, then if it's editable, then we start editing the first. So, you know, there's probably some nuances to all of this stuff that we need to work on. Context menu event will also set the selection to an individual item. That's fine. So gtable view. What the hell did I say in that other commit? Switch to using gmodel selection. Right. Cool. Let's make the item view toggle. So that's item view mouse down. Instead of calling add, we should call toggle. Yeah. I think we're going to be good here. So I'm going to keep working on this, of course, but it'll be a nice point to wrap it up for the video. Just look at it one more time. Look at that, I can toggle them. Boom. I should work on the sound player app too. So many things to do. But yeah, that's awesome. So I guess if you made it this far, then I thank you for watching, for coming here and hanging out with me. And it's lovely to have you all here as we continue hacking on this system. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for stopping by, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.